Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to do The Amazing Spider-Man issue number 6 by Marvel Comics. So yeah, this is the conclusion of the Spider-Woman saga. I mean, one of the many. So yeah, well, let's dive in. Yeah, Spider-Man is catching some crooks. It's made by Howard Mackie, John Byrne, story in Scott Hanna inks. I don't know why they flipped the whole image, because it should have been like this, right? So this is the top, this is the bottom. We see here the streets, neighborhood. It looks really cool, but it's somehow they decided to flip it and makes it more confusing. I don't know. So he said, does this, and these criminals says, "Hey, we did it," and basically confessing that they committed crimes. And then Spidey is reminiscing about what happened in the last issue and in the other issues as well. I really hate it when they are retelling the story over and over again. What happened in this one and in the other Spider-Man comic. Basically, he is now Spider-Man because of past events and because of that 14-year-old girl called Mattie, and he blames her that he is now Spider-Man again. And but he made a promise to MJ, and now he's coming home, so he expects some backlash. And then MJ comes in, so he adds, and she says, basically he wants to, how do you say, send her to the airport because he had an important photo shoot, and that didn't go through because of what? Because he's Spider-Man again. I don't know. It's just it's a confusing mess. Well, not really confusing, but it's not really a thing that we should go into. Anyway, she says, "Hey, are you sick? What's going on?" And then she's getting a telephone call, and that's the stalker storyline that we're not going into. It's not really important in this story, in this comic, or the comic after, because the storyline is about the Spider-Woman, right? But she says, "Hey, my friend Jill is coming, and we're gonna take Aunt May for a total makeover," and she wants to talk to Peter, and she says, "Hey, Tiger," and basically Peter says, "Hey, aren't you a little bit hyper?" And she says, come on, Tiger, what could be wrong?" "So I missed one photo shoot. What's the big deal? My bad for being out of town so much anyway." Now she says, "Now come give me a hug," but then he's in pain. And then she says, "Hey, Peter, be honest with me. Are you Spider-Man again?" And then he lies, and not sure why he needs to show his abs and his body. Imagine, living in 2023 with modern Marvel comics and doing this. This would be not an outrage. I mean, male can do that, but when it comes to a female, no. That's a big no in modern times. Anyway, so he rips his shirt open. He says, "No, I'm not Spider-Man." And she believes him. And so she gets a phone call again, but it's none other than Robbie Robertson from the Daily Bugle, and saying, "Hey, Peter, I have a job for you." Shooting some pictures for the newspaper, and then we go to the Spider-Woman, who is going crazy for whatever, and she doesn't want to hurt anyone. She wants to be alone, and she wants her life back. And then she is attacking the police because they snuck up on her. So she is, taking any chance. She's doing some devastating attacks and kicks their asses very quickly. So she's pretty strong. And she says, "I don't want any of it. This powers, this costume." And she says, "I hate spiders." Art is great, by the way. And then Spidey comes and says, "Hey, that's insulting." And Spider-Woman says, "Haven't you had enough? Do you somehow get some sort of thrill from all this fighting?" And so he comes down. "I don't like the violence. I never have. That's why all of this is so stupid. I have no idea why I'm doing what I'm doing. I almost killed those 3 women, those 3 other Spider-Women. See my last review with the Spider-Women. And absorbing the powers, and I'm supposed to kill you. Take a number. He wants you dead, you idiot." And he would be, and she says, she's hesitating. So we see a part of her origin, or I mean, that's coming a little bit later. So she says, I don't know. I know he was just a doctor or something. I never really saw him, but he was always there. I like this small flashback. Great art, as always, by John Byrne. And Spidey says, Doctor Who? I said I don't know. I don't remember much. Who I am, where I come from, but I do remember one thing. After I got the powers from other Spider-Woman, I'm supposed to kill you. You don't seem to be doing a very good job. I'm not sure, Spidey, that's a very good way, antagonizing her. And she says, how can you joke about this? You get used after a while. I'm sorry, I do want to help you. But then she's drooling. She says, I don't want your help. I want your life. This looks fantastic. Looks really great, especially the big hair. And then we go elsewhere because Mattie, she's now in a hospital and she's getting a visit from family members. It seems that the girlfriend of Jonah J. Jameson, what's her name? Marla, is family or something. And look at that haircut. Jesus Christ. John Byrne has something with this haircut. He's doing that with a lot of female characters in his comic through the years. In the past, not sure if he's just doing that now, but in the past, man, this ugly haircut. It looks like a dude. Anyway, and he says, hey, are you okay? How you doing? And she explains what happened. And she says, I walked down in the wrong block and found myself in the middle of a fight between Spider-Man and some scary-looking girl. And she says, hey, Jonah, you're looking a little bit red. Are you okay? Spider-Man, I should have known. Got to call in. I'll be back. And she says, hey, don't forget about your blood pressure. And then Mattie gets a visit from a young Madam Web. Not sure. Is this canon, by the way? I don't know. So somehow there's a storyline about her being de-aged. This is a long time ago, guys. I have no clue why she is now younger than. Doesn't matter. So she touches her and she says, I have a job for you. That's not going to be explained or further explored in this comic. So let's forget about that. So we're moving on. So Spidey wakes up and it's none other than Dr. Octopus. Yes, he's the big mastermind of all this. And says, hey, I'm the one who created Spider-Woman. And so he brags about his intellect, etc. And then we see the origin. And I must say, I like the origin. And I'm not against this Spider-Woman. I mean, she's a pretty cool villain if you're going to flesh her out a little bit more. But it seems she was a fashion designer and she has some kind of a double life or something. What the double life is, I don't know. But he decides to kidnap her for experiments. And it was a painful process. And she despised him for what Dr. Octopus is doing, did to her. And he also said that she wanted to kill him several times. I was forced to use extreme measures, torture, sensory deprivation, and starvation. And then she was ready to feed. And as long as I provided her with steady diet, she was mine to do with as I wished. So it seems that he was the one that orchestrated all this with the attacks on the Spider-Woman. And it was part of a twofold plan. Not sure what that is. Maybe in later issues it will be explored, but I'm not sure. He says, first they did possess powers which he was able to absorb. And she was drawn your attention. And then she was able to hypnotize you, just as female spider does to the male. And Spidey says, well, that's the reason why his spider instinct did anything. And so he says, okay, Doc, but now what? So Doc explains, if you can call it that explanation. Now we put an end to our long relationship, Spider-Man. You will serve a role in future events as they unfold, but in all honesty, having you alive would most certainly provide to be a hindrance. I believe it's feeding time, my dear. Yeah, no, I like this, that she's crawling up to her. And Spidey says, hey, you don't have to do this. But then she said, hey, but I want to. All Doc Ock did was to show my true face. Too bad for you. But then Dr. Octopus saying something. Don't bother struggling, Spider-Man. Those psi webs of her are quite secure. And since he already drained you of your powers, and he says, drained my powers? Well, it seems that's not the case. No, she didn't. As a matter of fact, it hurt her like heck when she tried to. And so there's some kind of a psychic feedback because of the psi webs is breaking. And then Dr. Octopus is, tried to distract him or attacking him. And he says, I don't have time to fight. And so Spider-Man does this again because he always does that to Dr. Octopus. It's a very effective technique, as he said. So he orders Spider-Woman, get off the floor and kill him. And that's exactly what she's doing. So she's using her blast to, to destroy him. But then Spider-Man noticed that they are underwater, and guess what's happening? I also love the effect, by the way, the underwater effect, because it looks a little bit off. If you are having a camera and you go from underwater, from above the water to under the water, you see this kind of image. Really well done. I mean, I wish artists did that a little bit more in modern comics, but, well, it's modern comics. They're not going to do that because modern artists are lazy, in my opinion. Doc Ock is going to escape with the Spider-Woman. So Spider-Man says, okay, they're probably coming back. So it seems that they are in Hudson Bay, or is it the East River? I don't know. And he survived, and and then he going looking for Aunt May and MJ and this girl. So, and the last thing we're going to see, so he confuses her. Hey, is Aunt May? And she said, no, that's not the case. I'm nobody's aunt, she says. And then Aunt May has a transformation. Basically, she just has a haircut. That's it. And there's a storyline with Flash Thompson later, and it's the whole Spider-Man woman saga is going to continue in this Spider-Woman. Well, here, I'm not going to explore that. Maybe, not sure if I have it. So if this is a good comic, I don't know. It's just a little bit run of the mill, I'm like I said, I like the Spider-Woman. She's not really as very well. She can be threatening, but it's how she's been written. I like her origin. Also like that, Dr. Octopus is, the catalyst of her, becoming Spider-Woman. But what was exactly now the story of her? Draining other Spider-Woman. So we having reviewed 3 issues about this whole storyline, and I'm still have no clue what's going on. So basically they say, hey, you want to know more? Okay, that's cool. Look, buy this one. No. So we have 3 issues with basically filler, if you know what I mean. So, that brings us to the end of the video. I have nothing more to say, guys. See you next time. Bye-bye.